your average alien, who lives many, many light years away. And he has this letterbox. And through this letterbox, all these random letters keep coming. Just keep coming through. And what he doesn't really realize, although maybe he eventually realizes, is the fact that these are our thoughts and our dreams and our lives, sent in letter form across the universe. And they just happen to come through. So the first poem is called Quotidian Joe. Quotidian Joe. Imagine you're a street, cobbles in a distant galaxy, a place so perfect nothing has changed for eons. Each house an organ, the people inside melodies. Everyone's named Joe because it's simple. Perfect for those whose heads are an eye, singular. Their limbs, gangly like vines with three-toed hands, alive with arcing moonshine. Their feet are frankly average. And on this street the asleep chug through night while bulbs burn flowers across their shadows. Would you have chosen those bedclothes? The immodest, undressed to darkness want the universal need of naked. No one has lips or language, just a rosebud, defining all that's sacred. The walls keep records of heartbeats, sockets ripe with fever. They are doctors of memory. The day, a layer of salve, the night, a sleight of hand. But have no fear, flesh recalls and confesses so often. We pen our pointless beauties, like butterflies blown in smoke rings, and slowly grow clear in their vision. The smallest cogs of light, desperate to make this matter. Quantum letterbox. A man came to the door. He wasn't selling doors. He sold quantum letterboxes. We bought one. On the box, it said our mail would exist everywhere, always. Delivery was instantaneous. The next morning, a letter, still wet with the spit of the person who'd sent it, plopped on the floor. It jumped up and did a dance, then tore itself in two. That's what letters from the other side of the black hole often do. After a while, things came. A daffodil pressed in the summer of '82, a bill from the dentist, a newspaper in the language never invented, and a gad of letters from Zen. Everyone stopped doing everything and sat glued to the box, waiting. Then there was nothing. Somewhere existence had come and gone. The universe was broken. A refund check was slipped under the door with a note that read, "Sorry for the inconvenience." Things of matter. Junk mail. Someone had to write it, print it, seal it, send it, even if it was done by a machine. Someone had to invent that machine. And even if that machine was invented by a machine, someone had to have the original idea, even if it was a bad one. Someone had to do all these things just so you could have cheaper window washing, carpet cleaning, or a timeshare in Llangennith. Someone somewhere wanted you to know you will never be alone. Not as alone as the machine who dreams of someday printing a Bible, a Picasso, or a handwritten note that says, "Trudy, I love you." For that one moment, Trudy will be saved, because this slip of disposable beauty shot out by the press will impress upon her this fact: she was adored. And this machine knows, as he gathers dust, all that matters most. Friends came over under and between the cracks and sashes. It being spring, they sprang like crocuses, hopped on beer and ash grown headily in the attic. True to form, their heads followed the song of conversation, the rant, rave, then swallow, until no one was left but devastation. Devastation sat on the sofa, sipping someone else's tin, and he bellowed, "This is a universal imperative! This is where the Bacchanal began!" Like bleach to a sheet, no one was there to listen. He went on for hours, singing the finest verses ever sung, until the sun rose again. Being pagan, he went to worship. His shroud upon our living room, his life across our kitchen, his lips within our heads. If nothing else to remind us, we had survived another night. The day didn't find us dead. But that can't be said for the goat dance, lying still in our bed. angels. Wind came in through the window, and we asked, "Where have you been?" He said, "Playing poker with angels." We imagined all the things you could win playing cards with the seraphim, keys to the sun, a motel on the moon. "No," he said, "they're a wicked bunch. Best stay clear of them. They spike your drinks and roar when they dream." It was hard to fathom. Then the baby looked up like a church mouse, and we ran. Hiding in the cellar, we heard her crawl to the cupboard, pull out the cards, and begin. The first ace to hit the floor was a fist. It said, "Feed me, or else." The second was a whoomp. "Love me, or beware." The third and fourth, we had no recourse. This is how it stood. 4 of a kind to remind us of our hand. A pair of weak hearts, some 6s, some 9s. No matter the cost, the only choice was fold. We crept back upstairs to find her grinning there. Her wings on fire and eyes aglow, we felt as light as wind, blown away by love and all that love demands. It's not unusual. There's news and politics and thorny people going on. That's why we built a bunker of words in the basement. It's made from Welsh. The consonants are white blood cells. Vowels happen so rarely, they're one-eyed jacks with machine guns. News becomes the song. Politicians wither into poppies. Thorns blunt themselves on pussy willows. We have gardens fed by static. In summer, the limes fall from the satellite trees to make mojitos, dreaming of Cuba. Sleep is our TV. Cool in the basement, dry of drama, it's one sitcom after another. Someday, the world will cut off our water. We'll have to leave the bunker, wash our hair with oil. Until then, we wrap ourselves in dragons, Merlins on the sofa. The confusion of light. The ghost was alive, but had forgotten. In the time it took to make the bed, get dressed, and seam her cobwebbed brow, the ghost had lost her shadow. When the sun shone, it ran straight through her. There it lay, on the pavement, wondering what had happened. The light said, "That was quick," expecting some resistance. Yet the ghost gave none as she walked away from matter. Nighttime. She gathered moonshine out her window. She made a pillow from its tears. There, there, she said, stroking her orphan sisters. She thought no one knew. So she wore less and less until her days were naked. The neighbors said nothing. They remembered when she was laughter, light, adventure. Then, one morning, she found a note from an ancient lover. It read, "This love will last forever." And for the first time in years, she cried until her cell was golden. And there, with time on her side, like an egg, her death was broken open. Sorry. All right, there you go. Off you go. Jingle away. A snow farmer's wife. Hence the jingling. Right. There was a girl who bloomed next door. She left to be the bride of a season, a winter, an elation. It's many miles from then till now, and a squall of lambs have arrived. It's springtime. Before the summer icicles bud, there's a lull. She has time to sow the cloud line, to blizzard the sunlight brambles. You'll make good eating, she says to the pond, iced like a cake, 3 years thick in places. Her kids are always ecstatic, fogged in a lake of laughter. They've never known air that wasn't barren. Her farmer comes in frozen. He's been watering the seahorses who swim aurorae round the silo. By harvest, she'll barely see him. His baler entwined with snow, lifted on skids, stacked in drifting halos, so the hunger will always have cold. In bed, she reaches for him and says, "There's still time for us to grow." Long-lost autumn. On Sunday, the whole street went to look for long-lost autumn. A horde of kids poked at each tree, ran in the clouds, questioned all the squirrels. No one knew. We used a trampoline to catapult kids high across the gardens. They had a God's eye view. They found lost autumn at 4:30. He was barely alive, but held his breath like a banana with brown distemper. We all stood round long-lost autumn and drank leaf wine, sang wind songs, and buried the limping summer. It was a good day, until a boy pointed out it was just an old banana. So we had a bonfire and burned the emperor's clothes of his childhood, and he got to eat the last of long-lost autumn. The Pacific eats everything. There's a lone bird on the phone line. He isn't talking to anyone. That wire stretches from here to California. Then it stops, because the Pacific eats everything. The bird has never seen the Pacific. He hears it's blue, a nice blue, the kind you give your mother. Here, have some blue. Mother says, thank you, and looks happy for eternity. Eternity grins like the ocean. This bird never knew his mother. Maybe that's why he's on the line, waiting for a call. The bird might be there a long time, until his sideburns weather. We ring to see if the bird will answer. He doesn't. We're the wrong number. We're not his mother. The bird lifts off like a sunrise being leavened, maybe to visit heaven. Gravity connects our call to California, maybe to San Quentin. At exactly midnight, the universe realized how much she wanted to live. With no one to tell, she woke up the road and said, sorry, but this is important. Lend me your hearts, please, because I don't want to die. Our minds replied, but who could possibly kill you? Stumped and wordly mystified, the cogs of a billion galaxies began to turn as we made tea and waited. It took a while, but the answer came in the shape of a meteor shower. The sparking rocks spelled verse across the sky, and it was quite lovely, except for the folks who had to get up in the morning. It basically read there would be a whimper or a bang, and that would be the end. An old man at the end of the road raised his hand. He said, seems to me there's nothing you can do about it. The universe scratched her 100 billion stars. Nothing a good night's sleep couldn't solve. And then she closed her cosmos. Hieroglyph Dreams. There's only one book in the house. It has 6 million pages. Hard to tell if there were ever more or less. There's a lot of sticky tape. Stuck to the spine are all the people who've read it. Their fingerprints, sighs, oohs, and ahs from whatever the seconds held. It's a story, it seems, begun in 1883. There are illustrations of old kitchen utensils and logs of bowel movements. There's not enough breast, nipple, or penis. Entire chapters are in the same vein. Sometimes a child's scrawl, then a widower's wallow. Last chapter. decided to stay for breakfast. She grew a grin and cracked the calendar, nibbling at our numbness. It was good to watch her through a hangover. Her sunshine tumbled down through the room. Washing tears from corners. The fridge was empty last year. It was a joy to give her syrup. Made us feel genuine. Like we had an excuse to look in the mirror. We polished our reflections just for this occasion, and she hummed while sipping without spilling a word. It was enough to have her there, under the fingernails of morning. Tomorrow will be the memory of her face. The promises made on doorsteps. The kisses and waves plopping down the pavement. Echoes glad just to have been her lovers. And we had a whole day of smiles just because hope came to breakfast. And to hold your head, fighting to keep her real. And ignoring what she's stolen.
Thank you, folks. A big thank you as well to Gareth Bonella, Rich James, and Andy Fung for playing beautifully. Now for your enjoyment. They're going to play for a little bit longer. I'm going to sit back there and sign books. Please drink some more wine, hang out, enjoy the music. Thank you for coming.